Atlantic City, a Town Square media station. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
What a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
I'm not even going to fake it, folks. It's a Tuesday, and the Sixers are the most pathetic thing I've ever seen in the last 24 hours. We're going to get into it this hour here on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. You guys can keep texting in at 609-403-0973, or you can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Kevin McCormick, Sixers beat writer, is going to join me. You know, when I reached out to Kevin yesterday about coming on today, I didn't think we'd be having this conversation. And for me, the conversation with the Sixers comes down to the play on the court. I thought yesterday I was incredibly wrong. I thought, okay, this team's going to come home. They're going to get refocused, recalibrated, and they're going to be good to go. Because they're at home, Toronto's on the road, etc. Instead, the Sixers came home and completely embarrassed themselves. They insulted the intelligence of all basketball fans on planet Earth. They played like a bunch of small-minded individuals. This is now 2 straight games where this team has racked up the turnovers. This is now 2 straight games where it looks like they're running more iso ball than playing basketball. This is 2 straight games where this team has gone out there and completely looked like a joke. Now, we went out and tried to excuse it away after the first game in Toronto, game 4 they lost. Said, well, it's a road game. It's Toronto. Toronto's fighting for their lives, blah, blah, blah. But what's the old saying? Fool me once, fool me twice, right? Well, the Sixers now fooled us twice. And I think that the players on this team need to look at themselves in the mirror and realize that this is their fault. I don't want to hear anyone try to blame Doc Rivers for the fact that you, James Harden, and you, Joel Embiid, keep turning the ball over. This is not rec night at your downtown gym. This isn't the JV squad playing before the varsity game in high school. This isn't the intramurals at your college. This is the NBA. And you insult every Sixers fan who came out to see you win the playoff series last night by turning the ball over a total of 9 times between your 2 best players. Joel Embiid is an MVP candidate in this league, and James Harden is a former MVP himself. These are supposed to be 2 of the top 20 players on the planet. Embiid, one of the 5 best players on the planet. And you kept turning the ball over like you're playing hot potato. You can point to all the scenarios, all the stats you want, but it all comes down to those turnovers. Because this is now 2 straight games the 76ers have turned the ball over at an alarming rate. To me, it's unacceptable to turn the ball over like this. Look, we all knew, okay, all of us who were in a rational state of mind, we all knew that at some point the shooting was not going to be there, right? It was not sustainable to shoot 50% from 3 continually. So we knew that there was going to come a night where they were going to struggle from 3 a little bit. But they had 16 turnovers in game 4, and they had 16 turnovers again last night. The Raptors are doing a better job at not turning the ball over. The Raptors are taking advantage by scoring 21 fast break points in game 4 and another 24 in game 5. They are taking advantage of the Sixers' mistakes. To me, basketball 101, don't turn the ball over. Basketball 101, run the offense. I put the blame directly on the stars. You want to be the best player in the league, Joel Embiid? I don't care how much pain your thumb is in. Play like it. Use your left hand more. Do something. James Harden, you want to make a stupid amount of money? Play like you deserve the contract. I don't understand how these guys can get up in front of the fans after back-to-back games of a combined 9 turnovers and just say, well, we got to play better. Well, no, duh. I can watch a high school game and say, well, the team that had the most turnovers is probably going to lose the game. Now, look, I understand it's not the only reason why they lost the game last night, but it's a huge part of it. They shot horribly from three-point range, 27%. Embiid and Maxey went over. Danny Green was the only guy consistently scoring out there, which in and of itself should be an embarrassment to everyone else on this team. The 3 highest earners on the team, Harden, Embiid, and Harris, combined, your 3 biggest moneymakers on your roster right now, combined, went 4 for 17 last night from three-point range. Unacceptable. You also didn't take advantage of the foul situation. You know, the Raptors almost every game in this series have committed more personal fouls than the 76ers. Outside of game 4, every game the Raptors have committed more fouls. Now, in games 1, 2, and 3, the Sixers were able to use that to their advantage. Last night, they didn't do a good job at attacking the guys who got in foul trouble. Birch had 4 fouls. Precious Achiuwa, he had 4 fouls. Scotty Barnes had 3 fouls, and he's playing on a bum leg. Where's the let's attack those guys attitude? Now, look, if you want to throw the coach in there, we can throw the coach in there as well for this. I think Doc Rivers is just trying way too hard to not make the wrong decision at times. Paul Reed played 8 minutes last night. I don't know if that's the answer. Okay? The guy off the bench that had the most minutes was Thibault. Matisse Thibault. He's not even going to play on Thursday night because he can't go to Canada. So you gave a guy who hasn't played half the series the most minutes last night. He had more minutes than Niang, more minutes than Milton, more minutes than Reed. I think that was the wrong decision. And by the way, it's not like Thibault had a great game. He was 1 for 6 from the field with 3 personal fouls. I think it's very obvious that whether it's Doc's coaching staff or himself, whoever is making these decisions, they're making the wrong decisions at times. And I don't know if he's ignoring his staff But I have trouble believing after we were told for forever, basically, it seems like, that the Sixers are one of the best coaching staff benches in the league with Dan Burke and Dave Yeager and Sam Cassell, that they can't get this figured out. The players are number one culpable for the loss last night, but the coaches didn't do them any favors either. They didn't help the situation. And I think that comes back to a bigger problem, because you're going to see this a situation happen now in Brooklyn after they got swept out by the Celtics. Their coach is going to take the blame. And so is Durant and Kyrie. Because on one hand, Durant and Kyrie basically told you it doesn't matter who the coach is. But then on the flip side, Steve Nash lost a half of his coaching staff from last year. And all of a sudden, they can't get out of the first round. And there's speculation that James Harden wasn't happy with Nash. That's part of the reason why he wanted to get traded. There's speculation out there that, the players aren't really listening to Nash, and he's talking in timeouts, and they're basically ignoring him for the most part. It's a bad look right now over there in Brooklyn. And Doc Rivers better be careful that he's not on that unemployment line with Steve Nash, because I don't know what Doc thinks is going on, but it's time to go to the board in the locker room with all the writing on it, the chalkboard or the whiteboard, whatever kind of board he's got. Just erase everything. Just erase everything. Go home. Forget about basketball for an hour or two. Hit the reset button tomorrow. Rewatch Monday's game, because whatever these coaches are thinking, this great coaching staff the Sixers have, it's not working. You're not getting the best out of these players. You're not motivating them properly. Because if the Sixers can't figure it out, we got a lot of problems. The Sixers have to win Game 6 or else. They cannot come back to Philadelphia for Game 7 and hope for the best. They got to get on that plane, go to Toronto, and say, it's do or die. They got to treat Game 6 like it's do or die. Because apparently last night they didn't. That's for sure. No urgency last night. Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. You can text into the show at 609-403-0973 on the text board, or you can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Sixers beat writer Kevin McCormick will join me coming up in about 6 minutes from now. Over on the text board, somebody texted, says, maybe Doc and Steve Nash should go to the Lakers together. First of all, if you are in your right mind, you don't want the Lakers job. The Lakers have to be one of the top 5 biggest dumpster fires in the NBA right now. The whole situation with Jeannie Buss, with different people in her ear, a GM who's way in over his head. You fired a guy who helped you win a championship because you had to blame somebody because you couldn't fire the GM again. I can't. I don't know anybody in the right mind who wants that job. I don't. I mean, you're literally walking into a situation where you can be fired after 1 year. Your GM handed your coach last year an embarrassment of a roster. The Lakers are a mess. Anthony Davis can't stay healthy. It's ridiculous. Dan and EHC chimes in at 609-403-0973. Says, I understand how fans can't expect players when they're old and past their prime to play well. Harden is past his prime. He has a lot of miles on his legs. Here's the thing, Dan EHC. I refuse to accept that narrative for one reason. being past your prime is not an excuse for being irresponsible with the basketball. If you're past your prime, that means you have plenty of experience in the league. Harden's been around between high school, college, and the NBA now for what? 25 years of his life of basketball experience, and he doesn't understand that he can't make some of those turnovers. I'm not going to accept their old narrative when James Harden goes out there and has 2 straight games of being sloppy with the basketball, irresponsible as a ball handler, and not doing enough to put his team in a position to be successful. You're the point guard. You wanted the ball in your hands. Stop playing like you're a kid who's trying to prove to your high school coach you deserve more playing time. All right, we'll talk more Sixers with Kevin McCormick, Sixers beat writer, on the other side right here on Game Night with me, Josh Hennig, here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Your home for Sixers basketball, Eagles football, the 2022 NFL Draft, Flyers hockey, and more. 97.3 ESPN.
The NBA playoffs continue on ESPN Radio.
Foul catch for two. Wide open Valanciunas catch, and he punched it with the right hand.
The top-seeded Phoenix Suns are in a dogfight with the 8th-seeded New Orleans Pelicans. Locked up at 2 games each. Can Chris Paul carry the Suns in a pivotal Game 5? Or will the Pelicans push them to the brink of elimination? Coverage begins tonight at 9:30 Eastern. The NBA playoffs, exclusively on 97.3 ESPN FM. With GMF financing, approved credit excludes Corvette.
This just in. Right now, Bennett Chevrolet is paying a minimum $8,000 for any trade. That's at least $8,000 for any trade, running or not. Bennett is doing it again. Want $8,000 for that old rotted out rat trap? Just drive it, push it, tow it to Bennett Chevrolet for a minimum $8,000 towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. Got a good trade? Well, if we're paying a minimum $8,000 for total junk, imagine how much more you'll get for a good quality trade. Looking for new? There's no beating Bennett, because unlike other dealers, we're not selling over factory sticker. And there's 0% available financing. Plus, if you're stuck in a lease, bring it to Bennett. We can get you out early, any make, any model. And remember, Bennett will buy yours even if you don't buy ours. Stop in for a quick quote. No pressure or obligation, because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid based on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. Find new roads at Bennett Chevrolet, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
What makes mulch so lovable? The texture? The smell? Well, it's not just people that love mulch. Your plants do too. Retaining moisture and regulating soil temps. It's the whole package. Guess the real question is, what's not to love? Stop in today for a special buy of Scott's Earth Grow and exclusive Vigoro wood mulches, 5 for $10. It feels like spring savings at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Something you probably do know. Progressive can not only offer you a great price when you bundle home and auto, they offer you round-the-clock protection. Something you probably don't know, the average garage door is made up of 1.3 millimeter aluminum panels. Something you probably do know, your neighbor likes to tinker with his dirt bike. Something you probably don't know, a runaway dirt bike can take out your garage door and a good portion of your car bumper. Bundle your home and auto with Progressive and get more than a great price. Get round-the-clock protection. Something you know for the things you don't know. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers, and subject to policy terms. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
Jose, how much longer till this dough's ready?
No one can bake gluten-free vegan goodies better than Surrey.
Wait, both Jim and Marion's last days are the same day?
But he needs to whip up a new shift lead without interviews burning his time.
Gotta get interviewing before my calendar is cooked. Oh,
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard, so you can stay organized and connected all the way to the hire. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
As a dentist, I know what my patients are saying. She says her gums are irritated. Is there anything you can do? You can try new Crest Advanced Gum Restore. It detoxifies below the gum line to restore your gums back to health in just 7 days.
Are you tired of bar hopping aimlessly to find the perfect beer? Good news! Your hopping days are over. Head over to Slack Tide Brewery in Cape May Courthouse. We've created a diverse and high-quality line of beers made with locally sourced, all-natural ingredients. From our Angry Osprey IPA to our Strawberry Mango Haywire Twist, our selection of brews will be just what you're looking for. Plus, our tap room is always a good time where you'll feel right at home. Slack Tide Brewery in Cape May Courthouse reminds you to always drink responsibly.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
We'll get back to guys' thoughts and comments in just a bit. Of course, text board is always open at 609-403-0973. You also can message the show through 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank and CLC. I'll get to Jimmy P as well as others a little bit later in the show. But right now, as promised, Sixers beat writer Kevin McCormick, after what I am describing as an embarrassing loss by the 76ers. Kevin joins us right now here on 97.3 ESPN. Kevin, how you doing after that fiasco last night?
I'm surviving, Josh. How are you? It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. So let me ask you first, you've been to a lot of Sixer games covering this team for the last few years. I can't say I remember a time that the fans gave it to the players and the players just never responded. It seemed like the players got on them early, and it's almost like they just gave up trying at a certain point.
I don't know if gave up trying is the word. I think through these past two games, we're starting to see what everyone was expecting this series to look like from the beginning. I mean, before, when it first came down to the Sixers and Raptors being matched up, you saw a lot of national media picking the Raptors to win this series because of how different their roster is comprised and how fast the Sixers had to throw things together at the end of the regular season. Officiating, swallowing the whistle. Like, I hate that it's something that we still have to talk about heading into a sixth game now. But, the officiating is a thing as well. And then you see the Sixers come out, sort of guns a-blazing. They take this commanding 3-0 lead. And now we're starting to see, why this was a series that most felt could go either way, because this Raptors team has a lot of fight. I think they play extremely hard for Nick Nurse, who, like I said before the series, is one of the best in the league right now when it comes to the chess match of coaching in the NBA playoffs. And it's just, the Raptors are a team that you can't leave a window of opportunity open for, because they will take advantage of it, which is what we're seeing now as they've been able to force a Game 6 back on their home court.
I understand a lot of fans are frustrated, but and this is no offense to them, half of stuff being said on the internet is just malarkey right now. My biggest problem, Kevin, is this is now 2 straight games that Embiid and Harden have combined for 9 turnovers. And the Sixers, they have now out-turnovered the Raptors 2 straight games. I don't think it's a coincidence that those are the 2 games they lost. Why does this team, with a former MVP winner, a current MVP candidate, keep turning the ball over like this is rec night in your downtown basketball league?
I mean, the biggest thing you can chalk it up to is just the size and length of the Raptors bothering them. And you can even bring up Game 3 as well. The Sixers had 22, 23 turnovers that game as well. It was just Joel Embiid managed to play hero at the end of overtime. Like, in the playoffs, no matter if you're a 1 seed going against an 8 seed, no matter what the stipulation is, what the series is, you cannot turn the ball over and expect to win games. This is like I just said, you're leaving a window of opportunity for a team like the Raptors. Sorry about that. Wait, where'd I go?
We still got you. Yeah, we still hear you.
Cool. Yeah, sorry. I don't know why a phone call came up on my phone. But yeah, I think a lot of it just comes down to just the size and the length of the Raptors and the way that their roster is comprised. And, James Harden in the past, while he's had to go against some bigger defenders, when you're being defended primarily by like a 6'8" Scotty Barnes, and then after that you're being met by a Precious Achiuwa, a Kem Burks, like there's still just all this size and length, and really it kind of just never ends. I think that's why we're starting to see the frustration set in, and all of these guys have long wingspans. They play the passing lanes. This is a team that prides itself on the defensive end of the floor. And, to put it simply, like, they're really just getting in the Sixers' face. They're poking the ball loose, and they're, just frustrating to the point that we're seeing these gaudy turnover numbers from guys that, for the most part, are very good at taking care of the ball. I mean, James Harden has averaged double-digit assists for the second year in a row. Joel Embiid has made great strides as a passer in his own right, but it's just Toronto is just very good at frustrating ball handlers due to the construction of their roster.
So what does this team do to rectify what I consider a sloppy game last night in terms of handling the ball, running the offense? Because we all understand it's not a great defensive team, right? This is not a team that's built on defense. But you just said it. They found a way to win game 3. They won the first 2 games. And 3 of the 4 games of this series, the Raptors have been in foul trouble. Multiple players with 4 or 5 fouls kind of situation. So how do they get back on the winning track? Because we know they can do it. We've already seen them win 3 games in this series.
Absolutely. I'd say the biggest thing is just getting back to execution on both sides of the floor. In the early games, I thought one of the main standouts was how well the Sixers were able to keep Toronto off the glass and thus stunting their ability to get out in transition, something that we've seen them been able to do a lot more, and it's been able to kind of attack the Sixers' weakness of transition defense. So it comes to the execution on the defensive end of finishing possessions, coming down with rebounds, playing the game at your pace, something Doc Rivers talks about all the time of, pace doesn't always mean wanting to play fast, but wanting to play the game at your speeds where you're able to take advantage. And then on the offensive end, it gets back to taking care of the ball. I mean, James Harden is the maestro of the Sixers offense because of his high IQ and his ball handling ability. It's why they brought him in. They needed someone who could run an NBA offense. And in those first few games, when they were executing properly and they were able to attack mismatches, we saw Tyrese Maxey having big offensive outputs. Tobias Harris was able to get open looks. And as simple as it sounds, it could be, sadly, it's not this big complex answer, but it just gets back to executing the way that you did in those first couple of games and regaining control of this series and getting into round 2.
Sixers beat writer Kevin McCormick joining us right here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of CLC. You can follow Kevin on Twitter at KevinMCCNBA. Now, we'll address the Doc Rivers elephant in the room. Okay. Now, I'm not the person, you know me, Kevin. I'm not going to sit here and say Doc needs to be fired. Doc's the worst.
Oh,
But
you're not in
do-
on the hire Jay Wright and Don Staley. That stuff's already come out.
I'm not.
Doc
I'm
Rivers
not on
is
that
as good as
Twitter
gone.
feed. I know. Although I feel like there's a contingent of the fan base that would be ready to fire either one of them as quickly as they were Doc. But anyway, although there is a scenario I mentioned earlier in this show in the day today that Jay Wright could be the Sixers head coach in 2025. So I'll just leave that hanging out there. But you're just shaking your head. Well, because Jay Wright came out today and said that, there's always a chance you might get the itch and come back kind of thing to coach again. But there's no guarantee what level that is specifically. So, but anyway, back to Doc. I think Doc's biggest problem is not the choking. Because everyone brings up his, how many games he's lost in a clinching scenario and all that stuff. I think Doc's biggest problem is that Doc is supposed to have the greatest coaching staff in the league, right? Sam Cassell, Dave Yeager, Dan Burke. And I don't remember the other 2 guys off the top of my head. I'm sorry to them. But he's supposed to have the best coaching group of guys, right? Who is the guy who's telling Doc that Matisse Thybulle should get the most minutes last night? Or that, let's give DeAndre Jordan a ton of run the last month and a half before, the playoffs. Who's the guy on his bench that is telling him these things are a good idea? Because whoever that is, Doc just needs to stop listening to that guy.
Yeah, I guess. And part of it is just circumstance. Yes, Matisse Thybulle certainly has his limitations on the offensive end of the floor. It's something we've talked about for years, something that was apparent last game as well, as after clanking wide open shots, he just ended up passing them up and was resulting in turnovers on that end. But it's just, what really can he do? You need that defense, that athleticism he brings, because while he's unable to really impact the game much on the offensive end of the floor, when Matisse Thybulle is locked in on defense, he can swing a game on that side of the floor. Not many players you can really like put in that category who can do that with their defense, but Matisse Thybulle is that. And against a team like the Raptors, who has all like these athletes and that size and length, you need someone like Matisse Thybulle out there. And then the DeAndre Jordan stuff, I agree. I think I applaud him for going with Paul Reed in this series. It was the right move by far, but we're seeing now kind of these just Paul Reed, you can tell that he's in his first postseason setting. And I think there's stuff that there's edges you could have smoothed out in the regular season if you could have just admitted to yourself that there was a small chance that he could play. And then, like you said, that whole final like month and change of the season, it was DeAndre Jordan, no matter what, no matter how bad he looked. Doc defended it. He said it's what they were going to go with. And then you're just like throwing Paul Reed to the wind because, you got the matchup that potentially could have happened to where he's obviously the better fit because like same thing with Matisse. You need those young legs. You need that energy because he just simply plays hard, and DeAndre Jordan would have just been overly exposed in any playoff minutes he would have seen so far against Toronto.
I just had trouble believing that like you have all of these like quote unquote great basketball guys, right? Like we've all watched Hard Knocks, for example, right? With like, the coach in the room with the coaches, right? Like you're telling me Doc's in a room with Cassell and Yeager and Burke, and they're like, yeah, Doc. Like I just had trouble believing they're all just all in lockstep saying yes to everything Doc is saying and doing. I don't know. Maybe I'm naive. Maybe I don't understand how it works in the NBA, but from my experience, someone's going to disagree with you at some point, right? And so for as small of a coaching staff as it is, you're telling me one guy can't go up to Doc and be like, hey, Doc, I got an idea that we haven't done yet. Or, hey, Doc, in game 2, we did this. Maybe we need to get back to this right now or something.
Yeah, I agree. But on the other end of that, when you kind of scrape away everything and you kind of just take it at face value, if you go to anybody like regular, like casual fan, no matter what level of, knowledge or how much they follow the league, and you say, if you're a coach and in the playoff setting, you have the choice to play an experienced veteran or a guy who was taken 58th in the draft 2 years ago and hasn't really gotten much run at the pro level, obviously you're going to go with the more experienced player. It's just how the league works. It's just how it works in general. Experience is a thing, especially in the playoffs. And while we agree in a situation like this, I think Paul Reed still has a very good case to keep playing. But at the end of the day, he was a second round pick. Like, yeah, he's put up all the phenomenal numbers in the G League, but that's the G League. We're talking the NBA level against a team like the Toronto Raptors who have won and understand what it takes and can expose a matchup like that. Sometimes you're kind of just stuck in between a rock and a hard place, and there's not really much you can do, as the coach, no matter what opinions may be thrown at the wall in those coaches' meetings.
Tobias Harris said last night after the game that they didn't bring the fight tonight, that their effort was terrible. That's Tobias Harris's words, not me. I agree with him, but that's a player saying it. Can they get this fixed? Because to me, Kevin, game 6 is a must win. To me, game 6, you got to win it. Because this team cannot come back to Philadelphia for game 7. And if they couldn't get their heads out of the sand last night, I can't believe they're going to get their heads out of the sand for game 7.
I think it's still something that can be brought back, that, that intensity, that fire. And hey, maybe getting shamed to this manner is the wake-up call. James Harden even said after the first loss that he felt it was good for them in a sense to face some adversity. The pressure's on now. Like you said, I mean, you don't want to come back to Philadelphia for a game 7 after being up 3-0. It starts at the top with Embiid and Harden. I think having a guy like Joel Embiid who has just such a strong competitive fire, I think he could lead the charge and kind of bring that intensity. But, even as bleak as things look now, Sixers only need to win one game. So I think that after, winning the first 3, it's still possible for them to wake up and realize, what's going on, to correct that and bring that intensity. And, because you're going to need to. Toronto is a team, if you want to put them down for good, you're going to have to punch them in the mouth. And that is just simply what the Sixers are going to have to do in game 6 if they want to close this out.
All right. I'm going to take a question from a listener and rephrase it to you. Okay.
Okay.
So basically, there's one of our texters texted in today and said that players, when they get older, can't be relied on to help you win games, and that James Harden is past his prime. And my contention to that is, just because you're past your prime doesn't mean you have to turn the ball over 5 times. You know what I mean? Like, having 5 turnovers is not a reflection of age. It's a reflection of just playing poorly or making poor decisions, right? So how much do we really place on James Harden's age, shall we call it, for this series?
Not too much. I mean, if you look at history, the great ones always find a way to win. They find a way to adjust. I mean, look at what Chris Paul just did with Phoenix last postseason. I think you could argue he's past his prime as well. You could go back to the 80s. I mean, Kareem won titles with the Lakers. Obviously, Magic was running the show as a little bit younger, but Kareem was up there in age as well. The good ones, they find a way to adapt. And I think we're just kind of in that, I guess, change of the guard with Harden, to where he's, starting to lose a step physically, and his game has to adjust now. We're seeing him embrace being more of a facilitator now, and it's just finding that balance of understanding you're not the player you once were, and how to gracefully get into this transition to prove that you can still be a high level talent despite being, on the back end of your prime.
Kevin, I do have some good news for you and Sixer fans tonight, though.
What's that?
The good news is I almost can guarantee you the Heat are losing tonight.
How so?
No Jimmy Butler. Looks like no Kyle Lowry tonight. It looks like, PJ Tucker is expected to play. Of course, expected, you know how that goes. The guy could be on a minutes restriction for it. Tonight just seems like, all right, Heat are going to lose. They're going to go 6 games too. So that's the good news. So if you go 6 games and you win, at least the team you see in the next round won't be playing fewer games than you. That's the only good news I have.
Yeah, I guess there is a positive in that. And
man, you just didn't give me nothing on that.
I mean, I don't know what to say, because it's just the rest thing is also hit or miss. We've seen times before where teams have had 9 days off before their next series and come out flat, and teams who have had to go 7 games after 7 games. It's all about a rhythm thing, and I think every series is different. Every matchup is different in its own right. So if I'm the Sixers, I wouldn't be worried in the slightest about how many games Atlanta and Miami's going right now. There are more pressing matters at hand.
Well, I meant for Sixer fans, not as much for the Sixers themselves, but I
mean, does it make it that much better seeing the way that they're playing
Kevin,
right now?
You could just say it was a stupid idea by me. It's okay. We're allowed to disagree.
I think there is some logic in what you're saying in terms of, your future opponent is also kind of expending themselves to their limits too, which I guess could be a positive in a sense, because you're going to have to play one of them eventually. But I wouldn't put it at the top of the totem pole. I'd say that.
All right. I'll give you that. I just think that, to me, knowing that the Heat are banged up and they're not playing their best right now, and they're probably going to lose tonight, is at least some, it's like a consolation prize, shall we call it? Saying, well, you know what? At least the guy that we're going against is not healthy either. You know what I mean? And B's got a messed up finger. Jimmy's got a messed up knee. Lowry, what is it? His
I believe
ankle?
a thumb. Oh, I thought Lowry was a thumb injury as well.
Is it? My goodness. Lowry's got a I feel like Lowry hasn't been healthy most of the year, so.
Yeah.
No, it's his hamstring. Lowry's hamstring. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So there you go. Maybe it is his thumb too, for all I know.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe maybe. Let's put it this way. Nobody's really healthy at this point in the year. Every player's dealing with something.
Oh my goodness. Really quick before I let you go, a couple rapid fire NBA questions for you, okay?
All right, let's go.
Steve Nash fired, yes or no?
No.
Will the Bucks win the Eastern Conference?
Pending on what happens with Chris Middleton, I think my gut says yes, but I'm also not sleeping on the Boston Celtics.
Okay, not sleeping on the Boston Celtics. Is Jason Tatum now a top 10 player in this league?
I think so.
Can the Suns reach the conference finals without Devin Booker?
Who would I forget who their second round matchup would be if they were to win this year. Do they play the winner of they won't play the winner of
I think they play the winner of what is it? Memphis, Minnesota. No, not Memphis. Memphis number 2. So it'd be Golden State, Denver. They play, which is probably gonna be Golden State.
No, I don't think they beat Golden State without Devin Booker.
Is Jordan Poole going to be the most overpaid player on his next contract in NBA history?
No.
You think he stays in the Warriors and takes a hometown discount?
I think the Warriors would be smart to kick the can a year. I think he still has one more. They wait the year to give him the extension, wait until he fully hits. Kind of like what we saw from DeAndre Ayton this year with Phoenix. Make him prove it a little more. But no, I think there'll end up being some other crazier investments than Jordan Poole.
Well, DeAndre Ayton has definitely proved it. That's for darn sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, he's playing. I mean, listen, the Suns are not. They're not having an easy time with the series of Booker, but Ayton's doing his job. I can promise you that.
Yeah, whether it's in Phoenix or somewhere else, he definitely will be getting a handsome payday this summer.
Absolutely. Kevin, before I let you go, I know you're got new affiliations now for your writing and your coverage.
Yeah, absolutely. So recently, I'd say probably about 2-3 weeks ago, I started covering the team for Heavy, covering the Philadelphia 76ers for Heavy, I should say. So you can find some of my more recent work there over on their Heavy on Sixers site. And then I've also started doing a little bit of general NBA news and coverage for Hoop Analysis Network. So now not only writing about the Sixers, but the NBA in itself.
There you go. Of course, you can follow that all on Twitter at KevinMCCNBA as he joined us right here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. It's okay with you. I'm going to keep calling you a Sixers writer and NBA writer, and because I'm not going to be able to remember everything you're affiliated with. So if that's okay with you, I'll leave it to you to promote it.
It's okay. Won't want to make you to work too hard, so that's okay. We'll keep everything at its base.
Kevin, I always appreciate you jumping on, my friend.
Absolutely, Josh, man. Take care.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. We'll get to your messages on the other side. Jimmy, Dan, I'll get to you guys coming up on the other side. Don't forget, coming up on 97.3 ESPN FM tonight, we have Pelicans Suns tonight on 97.3 ESPN FM. Tomorrow night, Bulls and Bucks here on 97.3 ESPN FM. So 2 straight Game 5. Suns Pelicans Game 5 tonight. Bulls Bucks Game 5 tomorrow night here on your home for the NBA playoffs and Sixers basketball. 97.3 ESPN FM.
With the 15th pick in the NFL draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select.
The NFL draft is coming to 97.3 ESPN this Thursday. The Eagles own 2 picks in the first round. Keep it locked to the Sports Bash for expert opinions and analysis to find out how it all unfolds. The 2022 NFL draft exclusively on your play-by-play home for Philadelphia Eagles football. 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7 p.m.
Spring into savings all month and spring out of that car you hate at Matt Blatt Kia in Egg Harbor Township or Toms River. We'll take any trade, any make, any condition, even if you're stuck in a loan or lease. Matt Blatt Kia can get you released. Do you have a job? Do you clear $350 per week? You could be approved with 0 down and low interest rate financing on every clearly marked new Kia in stock. And remember, we have new Kias arriving daily. Just because you don't see it on the lot doesn't mean you can't be driving your new Kia home tomorrow. So bring any trade to Matt Blatt Kia, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. And don't forget, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Offers with approved credit through Kia Motors Finance. Not all will qualify. Go to mattblattkiamj.com for complete details. Expires 5/8/2022. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township. And now on Route 37 in Toms River.
When you get nachos, tacos, empanadas, spicy queso with jalapenos, Pepto-Bismol's there. Pepto-Bismol provides fast, effective relief from nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, and diarrhea. All the things that can happen unexpectedly on vacation. So before you travel, pack the Pepto. Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
O'Reilly. If your vehicle squeals or grinds when you slow down or just isn't stopping like it used to, you may need new brakes. Through May 24th, check out the spring brake deals at O'Reilly Auto Parts and get 15% off a set of Brake Best Select or Import Direct brake pads with 2 rotors. Restore safe braking and save money now at O'Reilly Auto Parts or shop online at O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
First, we decide where we want to go. Then we need to know the best way to get there. Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold. We're the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. We teach people how to own physical gold and silver. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest #1 national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Get the best information, the best process, the best service, the best value. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
What makes mulch so lovable? The texture? The smell? Well, it's not just people that love mulch. Your plants do too. Retaining moisture and regulating soil temps, it's the whole package. And when you use Scott's Earthgrow or exclusive Vigoro wood mulches, you can even pick the color. What's not to love? Stop in for mulch and everything else you need this season. It feels like spring at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
We get it. You're not going to work just anywhere. You're smart, you're ambitious, and you want to help others. You want a place where you can thrive, feel fulfilled, and have an opportunity for growth, all while making an incredible living. Right now is the perfect time to join the team at Town Square Media as a marketing consultant. Join one of the fastest growing digital companies in America where you get to help build client solutions with real local influencers and sell brands like TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. If this sounds exciting to you, let's have a conversation. Our comp package is amazing with unlimited earning potential, including base salary, mobile phone, auto expense, 401k match, trip incentives, and more. If you're competitive, driven, and have the ability to communicate great ideas, we'd love to hear from you. With digital advertising expected to double over the next 3 years, the timing could not be better. Reach out to Mike Rubel, Market President, at 609-910-5249 or visit careers.townsquaremedia.com. Town Square Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Game Night being brought to you by AC Airport. Plan your next vacation now and create memories that last a lifetime. Start with nonstop flights from Atlantic City to Boston, Atlanta, San Juan, and Miami. Book your low-cost flight at spirit.com. I'll get to some NFL draft stuff in just a bit because there's a little news that happened with the draft today that I think is very important to keep an eye on. But first, I probably get some of you guys' thoughts and comments. As always, you can join the conversation. You can text in at 609-403-0973, or you can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Jimmy chimes in. It says, if the 76ers lose game 6, then we're in big trouble. We were warned about Harden in the playoffs, and the team looks soft. Toronto is all effort versus the team with way more talent and no effort. Well, Jimmy, you're right. Talent hard work beats talent every time. Talent doesn't work hard. It's one of my favorite sayings. I think the problem isn't as much Harden, because I don't think Harden has made the team soft. I think that, as I told Kevin McCormick, that this team was not built to play good defense. So if you're a team that's not playing good defense already. Like you don't have the personnel. Like the Raptors have great defensive personnel. They're freak athletes. They have great lateral movement. They're all guys who are overachievers. You got the team that plays defense with Toronto, right? The Sixers don't have that team. Doc Rivers, when he came to Philadelphia, said he wanted to have the number one defense in the NBA. Well, they had it the first year with him because he had Ben Simmons. Now there's no more Ben Simmons. He depleted the roster of most of the good defensive players. So now Harden has not made the team soft. You sacrificed your toughness way before Harden ever got here with the construction of the roster. You brought in George Niang, right? You opted to go with DeAndre Jordan and Willie Cauley-Stein and Paul Millsap before you gave Paul Reed and Charles Bassey a second chance. So that's not Harden's fault. Now, what is Harden's fault is the turnovers. I refuse to accept that any excuse for Harden on the turnovers. Age, his history, whatever. Being a poor custodian of the basketball when your team is counting on you to run the offense and carry the ball up the court and be a primary ball handler, it's unacceptable. You can't have your two best players committing 9 turnovers a game. That's what they've done 2 straight games now. So I don't think Harden has made them soft. I agree 100% that Toronto is all effort right now. You got to go in with more effort. That's what Tobias Harris said it himself. He said, look, we as a team didn't fight enough. Okay. Our effort was terrible. That's what Tobias Harris said. So to me, the only answer to solve this problem is the Sixers have to go into Game 6 treating it like a do or die. They got to treat Game 6 like Game 7, not like Game 6. They can't go in that game saying, well, if we lose this game, we got one more in the bag. No. You got to go into this game with a sense of urgency. Thanks to Jimmy for chiming in there. All right, before I get out of here, so I don't know if anybody saw this news. So you guys know I love the NFL draft, and the prospects, all that always fascinates me. Well, here's the thing. The GM, Scott Fitterer of the Panthers, came out today and said that they are interested in 2 quarterbacks, but they've also had discussions about trading down. We had heard a lot of speculation about teams making trades in this draft, from the Jags to the Lions to the Panthers. I'm starting to wonder if we might see multiple, 2 things I wonder. One, you might see multiple teams trade in the first round in the top 10. I'm starting to wonder how many of these teams really want to stay pat. And a team like the Panthers, they would love to recoup the picks that they gave up in the Darnold trade, those 2nd and 3rd round picks. I think that if you're the Panthers, you are in a situation where you really want to recoup those picks. So if you can move down even a few spots and still get the quarterback you want, you can. Because apparently Fitterer told the media today that he already told Sam Darnold they're going to draft the quarterback. Now, Fitterer said they're interested in 2 guys. We don't know for sure who those 2 guys are, but there have been multiple reports out there that the Panthers like Pickett and Willis. And I think the Pickett versus Willis debate really comes down, if you are a football junkie like me, who, keeps record of every quarterback I got right and wrong in my entire sports analyst life, from the 98 draft in my little notebook pad that's in my parents' attic right now, which I saw a little while ago, to now, I can tell you my analysis of every quarterback because I'm a junkie like that. I am the sports geek for a reason. For me, the biggest line of demarcation between Willis and Pickett is potential versus production. And the reason I say that is because Pickett had the season on paper that would make him the number 1 quarterback in this draft. But he doesn't have the physical tools to be the best quarterback. To me, Pickett's a lot like Kirk Cousins. I think that's what his potential is. Malik Willis has the best ceiling. He has the most potential talent. He's a little raw right now, but his potential is to be an amalgamation, basically, of Lamar Jackson and Steve McNair with a better passing accuracy, more powerful arm. So what do you prefer? The high floor, the high ceiling? I'm Josh Hennig. Have a great night.